Hello and welcome to this video. This is Amazing Racing Stories. Today it goes a bit dark and I bring you the amazing story of a champion with a sad end. 5. Violette Morris. She was a powerhouse athlete with 14-inch biceps who discovered a love for trousers and fast driving while driving ambulances for the Red Cross during the First World War. But her outrageous and mannish style, she dated Josephine Baker, smoked and cut her breasts off to better fit behind the steering wheel of a race car. Outraged the respectable upper-middle-class world of women's athletics. Basically, Violette Morris excelled at auto racing as well as swimming, soccer, boxing and other sports. But Morris was never accepted by French society, and when she was cast out of respectable society, she became a Nazi spy and a sadistic torturer known as the hyena of the Gestapo. This story sounds a bit dark, funky and crazy. Are you ready? Let's go! Morris was born in Paris in April 1893, the sixth daughter of Baron Pierre-Jacques Morris and Elisabeth Sakakini, who came from an elite Jerusalem Arab family. Violette Morris was educated in a convent, where the physical education classes were taught by British teachers who were amateur athletes. When World War I began, her boxing gym was transformed into a Red Cross center and she volunteered to serve as an ambulance driver at the front and showed incredible bravery. This attracted the notice of commanders, who also used her as a courier, where her uncommon speed and strength were an added advantage. She served at the battles of Verdun and the Somme. It was really driving over rough and dangerous terrain, past the trenches, collecting stretchers of bloody soldiers, and it was absolutely critical to get these seriously wounded French soldiers to hospital fast. After the Great War, she launched a dazzling athletic career that was unprecedented in scope. She set new French records in the discus and shot put and held the European and world records in these events from 1921 to 24. She eventually gained 50 medals in international competition. She also played in the first of its kind women's soccer team and the French water polo team. She competed in bike races, boxing and Greco-Roman wrestling matches. She was an avid boxer, often fighting against and defeating men. She learned to fly and performed aerial acrobatics and rode a motorcycle. She was described as a colossus. But once she discovered car racing, that became her great love. So much so, in fact, that in 1930 she underwent an elective mastectomy to make it easier to fit into the cockpit of a racing car. She mainly competed in cycle car endurance races and used a Benjamin cycle car. She competed in the Tour de France automobile in 1923, Bol d'Or 1922, 23 and 26 to 28, Paris-Pyrénées-Paris twice in 1922 and 23, Paris-Nice also twice in 23 and 27, Grand Prix of San Sebastian 1926, Dolomite 1934. She won the 1927 Bol d'Or 24-hour car race at the wheel of a BNC. In the early 30s, for example, all of Paris was talking about her lawsuit against the French Women's Athletic Federation for its ban on competitors wearing short pants as per a directive from 1800. She lost, with the judge ruling that, and I quote, "It is well known that pants are not standard attire for women, and therefore it is within the Federation's authority to uphold the ban." End quote. She was also ordered to pay court costs. Her auto racing license was also revoked, in part because of her pants. Morris protested, saying, "Look around and see what you see. See the women with their knees crossed, and then ask yourself which is more immodest, their scanty dresses or my pants." This argument was apparently lost on French officials. Morris' whole life had been tied to sports, and now it was being taken away. Deprived of a stadium, the champion became more discreet. She initially devoted herself to her car and bicycle accessories store in Paris, which quickly went bankrupt. She encounters some setbacks with her owner, whose Jewish origin will contribute to the growing anti-Semitism of Violette Morris. And this brings us back to Hitler and that invitation to the 36 Olympics. Morris was also a very colorful figure outside the world of sports. She was often seen dressed in men's attire, sporting cropped hair and a monocle. She smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and cursed with abandon. Her slogan was, "Anything a man can do, Violette Morris can do better." Intellectual and bohemian Paris embraced her, and admirers crowded around her at nightclubs and theaters. Josephine Baker, the great singing sensation of the era, conducted a love affair with Morris, which ended when Morris left her for theater actress Yvonne Debray. The latter was the favorite of writer and director Jean Cocteau, who also became one of Morris' closest friends. The Nazi chapter of her life began in 1936, when she received a personal invitation from Hitler to be a guest of honor at the Berlin Olympics. She was very well received in Germany, and they thought that she was wonderful. She was easy prey to switch her loyalties to the Germans, or more specially, we should say, to the Nazis. Nazi officials believed that they could turn Violette Morris into a spy, and they were right. Opinions are divided as to the nature and extent of her collaboration with the Nazis, and later with the German occupation forces in France. Tried in absentia by the French resistance, she was accused of spying for German intelligence and of passing Allied military plans to the Germans. She had been in charge by the Gestapo under the occupation to suppress the English networks of the SOE. It caused so many losses to the British that the IS sentenced her to death. She was also accused of giving the names of members of the French resistance to the Gestapo and participating in the torture of prisoners, particularly women prisoners. She was also said to have made huge profits from the black market sale of fuel confiscated by the German army. But the resistance trials were secret and no written word was kept for safety's sake. So, is it possible that Morris was a victim of the fear and hatred that prevailed in those days? Did her image and lifestyle make her the perfect scapegoat? Some writers claim that there is no proof of the things she was accused of. Well, I leave this part of the story to your consideration and opinion. With the Allies gearing up for D-Day, there were orders from London to take out hundreds of Gestapo agents before the invasion. Violette Morris was on the list. The Maquis, part of the French resistance, were carrying out many of the assassinations. The truth was that it was a grey morning in April 26, 1944. The fancy Citroën car was cruising along a country road in Normandy when the engine suddenly spluttered and came to a halt. Unbeknownst to the occupants of the car, the engine trouble had been caused deliberately. Armed resistance fighters suddenly emerged from a hiding spot and sprayed the car and its 5 passengers, including 2 children, with bullets. Only one was the real target, the 51-year-old driver, Violette Morris. The former Olympic champion was one of the early 20th century's great feminists, but was destined to be consigned to the trash heap of history due to her collaboration with the Gestapo. her bullet-riddled corpse was taken to a nearby morgue, and for months no one came to claim it. Eventually, she was buried in an unmarked communal grave for the homeless and unknowns. A terrible end for someone who held 200 titles and records in athletics, boxing, and outdoor racing, who fought for the women to be allowed to compete alongside men in sporting events, and who was open about her sexual orientation and had public love affairs with other women. Whatever the case, she was a woman who was ahead of her time, who ran faster than her contemporaries, who generated a huge clamor in her lifetime and a thudding silence after her death. A woman whom the women's liberation movement of the 20th century could have adopted as a symbol, were it not for her bleak end. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, share it with your friends, leave a line in the comments section if you have something to say or ask, and subscribe for more videos like this. I see you in the next video. Take care.